is Ami. I'm from CRM Science. Sean is here with me all the time, as usual. And also we have a special guest today, Florian from Usersnap. He's one of the guys in the incubator with us. So we're going to start doing these once a week, and Sean and I will have a guest every week, usually someone from the incubator, and we'll talk about the happenings at the incubator over the past week, and maybe hit on the common themes that we've seen over the week. So I guess we can start with the kind of stuff that we've done. A couple of weeks ago we had PredictionIO here for office hours, and Sean sat in on those. How did that go, and what was interesting?
Well, I thought it went really well, and there was a common theme among all the participants as they met individually with the member of the PredictionIO team, and that basically was how can we leverage this? How does this add to the toolbox for us to leverage AI on the platform? And it was really, it was very interesting, and came away with an understanding of the availability of PredictionIO as a Heroku build pack. You can get templates for some of the algorithms on the Apache site, and however, if you're going to do that, then you need to be responsible for managing the data layer. You're going to be writing your own algorithms, and of course you can easily integrate from Heroku. Just be ready for what you're going to get into, but otherwise it's there. And if you look carefully enough, there's a couple walkthroughs on how to set up a PredictionIO project online. We'll link them after this show or something.
Yeah. That's great. We also had, this week we had a PR event. So it wasn't a PR event, it was an event to talk about PR for startups. I thought it was interesting. It was a panel, good attendance, about 50, 60 people here. Did you have any thoughts about that?
It was interesting, actually. I think PR changes a lot in the last couple of years, and talking to the public and leveraging channels is, I think, the main topic. It's not sending out press releases.
Right.
It's like delivering value first and capturing the audience over different channels. And the main takeaway is basically, for me, is running a small business, that doing PR is, doable without a PR agency. That was interestingly the main takeaway. Anyway, I've learned a little bit about how to improve on delivering the message out there, because that's, I think, the main thing you have to do. What do you do, and what's the value you can provide to the segment you're able to address?
Yeah, I think creating some value, some interesting content is the most important thing, and that's actually one of the things that we're trying to do today.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about Usersnap and what you're trying to achieve here in the incubator?
Yeah, absolutely. So I give a little bit of a context to make it easier to understand what we are doing. Usersnap came out as a bug tracker for web development projects, and the secret sauce with our bug tracker is that people can communicate in a visual form. That is, we allow our bug reporters, to annotate the screen, hit the button, and we create a screenshot out of the situation, making the other party making it easy to understand what's being communicated. So that's the core of Usersnap. It's visual communication, and from there on we developed a product called Alpaca, which not only allows internal communication, but also communication between brands and their visitors, their customers of a digital product. So it's an in-app messenger like Facebook Messenger, but you own the conversation, and again, it allows you to communicate visually. So that's the two pillars of what Usersnap is, and what we're trying to achieve here in the incubator is to understand the ecosystem around Salesforce, around the App Exchange, around Lightning, how how to get into this ecosystem and what's the best way to provide value there. And that's what we're learning at the moment. We're new to the game. One of the challenges is, I think, as far as I understand it by now, to provide a Lightning app or a Light Out app, I think it's called.
Lightning out, yeah.
Lightning Out. Light out, yeah. So
no one lights out.
Lights out. So that's what we're working on at the moment. One peculiarity might be that the core, so installing or getting the value of Usersnap and Alpaca requires you, if you were just a digital business, to add a small snippet of code. That's like installing Google Analytics. And we need to figure out how to get into the whole ecosystem with this approach.
Right. So I think that that's a common theme over the last couple of weeks, as a lot of the companies and the incubators are new to Salesforce. So we always recommend to build on Lightning first. Lightning is the future of Salesforce, so it makes business sense. And when you just demo anything, it should be Lightning, because nobody at Salesforce will demo Classic anymore. So it makes a lot of business sense, but yet you have to cater to the 90% or whatever number that is still on Classic. So a lot of the companies we've talked about creating components and packaging them as part of a regular App Exchange app, and with Lightning Out as part of that package. And I think Sean talked to several companies about that.
Yeah, it's a very common thing, because like Usersnap, everyone wants to know how is the best way to get into this ecosystem and bring our technology and our value propositions to this market. Makes perfect sense, and definitely creating a connected app on App Exchange is one way to do that. But there's also some uniqueness across all the participants as well. I want to give you a shout out, Florian, for Usersnap, because the Alpaca product, I was very impressed about the technology behind it, and I'm not going to give away any secret sauce here, but the client is amazingly thin, and yet you're doing so much on the client to facilitate that conversation. So nice job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and actually you brought up something interesting, which is the connector app, which is a new path that you can take in the App Exchange. That was something that was kind of like a gray area before. So now there's for companies who are only connecting to their servers or their services. You have your own path in the App Exchange as an ISV, instead of being part of the rev share ISV, the 15%. You can basically make your app free, and then have a pretty reasonable priced agreement with Salesforce. Do you think that's going to work out for you?
That could be a path for us, I would say. We're still figuring out what the best way is to do that, and I think it will come down to the question what implications we'll have in the future, and also from a velocity perspective, how fast can we get into this agreement, and what's the potential upside for us. I think there's a lot of research for us to do, but I see there's a move towards the right direction with this thing, to open up the ecosystem towards other services. I think this is a very, very good thing.
Yeah, I really think that it was a really good move by Salesforce, something that some of our clients were struggling with because they were just connected to their apps. But I think that's really good progress. I think another probably good theme is all the applications or all the companies in the incubator are they're trying to figure out what their Salesforce app looks like, how they integrate, or what user stories are they telling inside Salesforce. And you have we kind of talked, and we kind of figured that it might make more sense to, instead of cater to the community users, to cater more to the back-end service people. Does that tell us more about the...
Yeah, the idea was that, well, basically making the front-end part, or the public-facing part, free and easy to install and very low profile. Everybody can get into this, and only commercialize on the back-end users. This is maybe for Alpaca the right way to do it, and also commercially this would make way more sense, I would say. Yeah.
Right.
And also it removes a lot of friction when it comes to giving our product a shot, right? Because if there's no risk involved, it's very easy to perceive the value, and once the value is perceived, it's also easy to convince people to pay for it. Right? And this that's true for inbound B2B SaaS products everywhere, but it's also particularly true when it comes to Salesforce apps, right? So the same people there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is something we want to. I think if the whole process of getting people into the product is designed very well, success will follow automatically if there's value. Right? It's a designed process, and that's I think one part of our stay here, to understand how we can design the process in the best way to get to the user making decisions there.
Yeah, and I think that the incubator provides good. It connects everybody to the right people within Salesforce, so that's definitely a benefit. Have you seen that, Sean, as far as how companies align their user stories to the Salesforce business?
I think that's actually been part of the learning curve for the participants at the incubator, because in some respects, Salesforce is a big unknown for many of these participants. They don't realize how much you can do on the platform. You just can't. I mean, there's so many Salesforce products. The platform, the service covers so many things that's actually been something that we've been coaching a lot of the participants on, to start thinking about what Salesforce also brings to the table in terms of user experience, other features, etc.
As an enterprise product.
Yes, as an enterprise product, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, one idea what struck me right now is that would help us from getting from status completely newbie to, well, at least a beginner, would be a couple of case studies or user studies where the user is companies like us, showing us, okay, that's how we got into the ecosystem, that's where we started, that were the considerations, that's what we picked, and here's why. But that would be like,
more like the business use case as opposed to the technology.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be very helpful. Maybe we could work on such a story.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to Mike Reedon, who runs the incubator, and perhaps he'll help us do that, and definitely for cohort 3 next year. What else do we want to talk about this week? Any topics?
You're looking at me.
Why not?
Why not? No?
No. Yeah, so we're going to try to give a little bit of insight once a week, and we'll always do it on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific, and we'll always Periscope it. Hopefully it will go better than it did today. And thanks Florian, thanks Sean, and we'll see you next week.